Hi everybody, it's Courtney. I just wanted to make a video today about the general maintenance of my hair. I did actually just get out of the shower probably about an hour ago. My hair is still wet. It does not take that long to dry. I don't know if that's because I have young dreads or if because my dreads are relatively skinny. They might just be skinny because they're young, so maybe it's both. But they really take like 4 hours to dry. My regular hair took a long time to dry, especially if I like put it in a ponytail, so that's kind of normal for me. But I will be, doing things to prevent things like mildew and things like that. I do dry it really, really thoroughly, but even after I dry it, it's been like an hour, I could shake my head and water would come out of the tips. I use a blow dryer on the roots sometimes just to make sure my scalp stays dry. But other than that, I don't do too much extra to dry it. I don't like to use a hair dryer because I don't think the heat's good for your hair. Anywho, going on with general maintenance, as far as like using a dreadlock product for my hair, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do something that has been specifically marketed towards somebody with dreads. I don't know why. I feel like they're trying to sell you something, and like as far as like the wax went, like I researched dreads for a while and I thought wax was good for your hair, and now it turns out that really you don't want to put wax in your hair. That's kind of disgusting because it can create a lot of buildup and things like that. So I just didn't agree with that, so I wanted to go the most natural route that I could realistically go with my hair. And I know that dread shampoos don't have they leave less residue and things like that, but I'm going to kind of combat that my own way, as you'll find out in this video. And all this could change. I'm very, very new. I'm not saying I know more than you. I'm not saying wax is evil. I'm not saying, it's just all personal preference and based on my, few days of research that I've done and some history researching things. But, I'm obviously not a scientist, doing experiments on my, several different subjects. It's just my own hair that I'm really just playing with and experimenting with. I did buy dread products that I didn't want to get out of hand buying things for my hair because I feel like this is pretty much a low maintenance hairstyle. And I felt like when I was watching some of the videos of like, oh, here's my, this and my that, and this is my conditioner, and this is my, lot of product going into somebody's hair who has dreadlocks, and I don't know, I just felt like that was kind of not the natural way to go. So my personal trial of what I'm doing is going to involve my personal head. So I have to cater to what's going on, and I have had in the past a lot of trouble with dandruff, and I don't want to like hide that from you because I'd rather you be really, really informed. It is kind of gross, but it's part of the natural human life for some people, and unfortunately it's something I'm going to have for the rest of my life. It's not something that's, cured by a special shampoo. I can treat it with a special shampoo, but it will not be cured. It will always be something that I would need to treat. There's a lot of misconceptions with dandruff. A lot of people believe that when their scalp is dry, they have dandruff. People call the white flakes of skin dandruff instead of the actual disease calling it dandruff, because you can have white flakes and not have the dandruff disease, if that makes sense. So, I always thought that I had like a really dry scalp and I was getting dandruff because my hair was so dry, and I kept putting coconut oil in it and really struggling with dandruff all through, I would say like about a year ago. For a good year-long period I was struggling with dandruff and always trying to hide it and trying to, make sure my head was clean before I left the house, and I hated it. I couldn't get through it. So I just constantly was moisturizing, using leave-in conditioners, using a lot of conditioner, not rinsing out all of my conditioner. I tried everything, just really trying to moisturize my hair. And what I found out was that people with the disease of dandruff, like I have, actually need to have a dry scalp. what happens is if you're sensitive to something called yeast, that's like a natural part of the human body, and you get a lot of yeast on your head, the oil reacts with the yeast and creates the flakes of dandruff. And they're not just dry scalp. There's something that's actually growing on your scalp because of the combination of chemicals. So you do not want to add oil to that equation because it will just react more and more with the yeast, I believe. And that's just from my, short amount of research. If you don't believe me, research it yourself. If you know I'm wrong, then that's fine. You can tell me how stupid I am in the comments. I don't mind. But I just want everybody to know what I know because it worked for me. So I finally found that out and I started washing my hair constantly. And my scalp, it was gorgeous, just absolutely gorgeous, not a flake in sight, and I really feel like I figured myself out. That could lead to problems with having dreadlocks because you don't really want to sit with 4 hours of wet hair every single day. Instead of washing your hair every single day, you need to kind of figure out what your plan is going to be. For me, at least, that's what I had to do. And what I decided was to get a bottle as such, and I'm going to use baking soda and water to wash my hair when I feel that it has buildup in it. This will take the chemicals and the residue out of your dreads. It'll also dry your dreads out as well as your scalp. So I really got this bottle so that I could mainly apply this to just my scalp and not to the actual dreadlocks. Because I already have coarse hair, I don't want to have dry, coarse, broken dreadlocks. So I will be applying this to my scalp, and I've done it, and I had a spot here, and I, just really rubbed it in and washed it really well with that mixture. And this is an 8-ounce bottle, and so I put a tablespoon of baking soda and I just leave it in the bathroom, and put it at the bottom before my wash, and then fill it with water and use that one time around my scalp. I really only need that one bottle full because I'm just concentrating on my scalp. I want my scalp to be dry. When you hear about like a deep cleanse, they usually use baking soda, some other ingredients, and apple cider vinegar. And they call it an ACV, apple cider vinegar. The apple cider vinegar is actually a conditioner because the baking soda dries your hair out, and it actually, takes away some of the pH balance in your natural hair. And so the ACV helps counteract that pH problem, and it conditions your hair. I don't plan on using apple cider vinegar for a while. If I see that, I'm having some breakage or my scalp's getting too dry, which really I haven't ever had that problem. My problem's been the dandruff disease. So, that's what I'm planning on doing. And that is a really natural way to get your hair back to just hair. No buildup, no residue, no fragrances or scents or oils or anything stuck to your head or in your dreads. Really good way to just full-on clean your hair. You don't want to do it like a lot, so I'm going to use that really drastic drying measure to combat the fact that I'm not going to be washing my hair on a daily basis anymore. I did start to have a reaction, and the oily hair did start to make me itch and start having that dandruff, and I just did not want to even go there, so I got right on the computer and started researching this out because I want to make this work. It really wasn't too hard. I didn't go overboard. I only spent like $8. I think I might have mentioned that already. Another thing that I bought was this therapeutic shampoo. Probably has a lot of chemicals in it that I'm not supposed to be using. I'm pretty sure it has fragrance, which is one of them. And, like dyes, like Red 40 is in here. Like, I hate the fact that that's in there, but I need something that's going to fight dandruff on a bad dandruff day, or I just needed something that I know works on my head, whether it works for dreads or not. I can always use my baking soda to take the chemicals out of my hair. This is my normal favorite. It has a blue dye in it, so it's actually very, very blue in this container. This works on my hair. Yes, it is drying. Yes, it's hard to brush your hair when you use this. Luckily, I'm not doing that anymore. But this really does work. This is the off-brand version of Selsun Blue, and I usually get the medicated, but this one's the moisturizing, so it's really not ideal for dreads. I would definitely get like the medicated or even the menthol for the relief if you're having a lot of itching. If you are going to be using those chemical-ridden shampoos, definitely get yourself the hookup, get the bottle, get the baking soda, do this too. I'm gonna probably alternate, or I'll probably use this mostly. But I don't plan on washing my hair a lot, especially over the summer. I so far have been going like every 4 or 5 days or so, and I start to feel a little itchy and sweaty and irritated after that amount of time, and so I'll do one of those products. Another thing that I got to hold me over in the in-between of the 4 or 5 days, which I actually really like this so far. This is just a cheap dry shampoo from my local Walmart. It has isobutane, propane, SD alcohol 40B, aluminum, starch, octosylin. It's got chemicals in it. So I will be using this, but I will also be doing the baking soda, so hopefully that will counteract any of the chemicals. But this really is a short list, and it does have the leaves no residue behind guarantee on it, so hopefully that will be true. But I really only spray it on my roots, which is where I'm doing most of my washing when I wash. So, you know, it's just one of those things. I have to keep my hair dry. I can't have a bunch of dandruff flakes. It's dandruff flakes in my dreads or chemicals in my dreads. So we'll see how it goes. I'll keep you updated for sure. I know a lot of people probably are, you know, oh, you said you wanted to be natural, but you're using all these chemicals, but gotta do what you gotta do. I don't want to have a bunch of dandruff all in my dreadlocks the whole way through, and I enjoy them, and I'm not gonna, you know, sacrifice one thing over another just to, I'm gonna find a middleman here, and I think it'll work. Anywho, oh, if you do have dandruff and you're struggling with it, please stop moisturizing your hair. Do some research, because yes, you may just have a dry scalp that is flaking, but don't torture yourself like I did, and make sure it's not the actual disease dandruff where you're not supposed to have oily hair, because it was really a struggle that I went through. And you know, you can make fun of me all you want in the comments, but this is real life here. One thing that I do that I really think is probably the best thing for my hair right now is going to the beach. I go to the beach regularly, probably 4 times, no, I would say 3 times a week right now. I wish it was 4 times a week, 5 times a week, 6 days a week, who knows. I wish I could go every single day, but it does rain a lot where I'm located. But I go to the beach, and depending on the beach conditions will tell me whether I need to actually wash my hair. I do rinse my hair because the salt is very drying. So I'll rinse out the actual, you know, body of the dread and leave my scalp alone, really. I mean, I don't mess with it because I don't think salt water is bad for my hair. I think it's really good for, especially with my dandruff, but it also tightens up your dreads, dries your hair out, and allows it to really form better locks according to the research, you know. And I feel great after I go to the beach. It does frizz your hair out. If you have strong waves at your local ocean, if you have one, I would, you know, advise you to take it easy on young dreadlocks, especially if they're not tight. Mine are very, very tight. So I haven't had too much of a problem, but it does frizz out a little bit more. Some of the loose hair comes out of the base of your lock, and there's some things that I do to maintain that, and I can cover that in another video. Let's see what else. My talking points here. Oh, the seaweed at my beach has been in bloom. So if the seaweed is blooming or pollinating or whatever it's doing, sometimes you'll see a film on the water, and it's like little teeny tiny specks, but it will get in your hair, and I strongly recommend washing that out. You don't want to have seaweed growing out of one of your dreads in a few weeks. You know, like, you never know. Okay, just wash your hair if you see a lot of junk in the water at the beach. You never know. I think that's about it. I do want to thank Miawana for discussing maintenance in her videos on YouTube. I really watched a lot of her videos, but her maintenance method works really well. I suggest you look into it if you haven't already. I can show you what basically I've been doing, especially with this top section of hair that's really like, you know, where you would probably have the most problem with frizz, because you don't really see the frizz on this other underside stuff. But what she does, and I'll scooch towards the camera, hopefully you'll be able to see me, or at least the hair. You see I have this fluff coming out of the lock. So what we're going to do is just kind of make sure that you don't have any other dreadlocks hair or frizz coming out going into that lock. And then you're just going to pinch everything that does belong to it in your hand like this. And so you see I have all that frizz coming out, and what she does is she just takes her hand, and what I do, and traps all that fuzz in between the two hands, and then I go clockwise, which give you a minute to find that out. I go clockwise to maintain all my dreads, because that's how I put them in. So all she does is really rub like this, and what's happening in there is this is spiraling around and kind of grabbing and squishing all those little loose hairs into the base of the dread. And it really works pretty well. I'm kind of scared to move the camera to show you, but that frizz really did go into the dreadlock. You can see it wrapped around. I'll show you the best I can. You can see it wrapped around the base if my camera focuses well enough on it. And it does come out, but that's one thing that I do just to help maintain the look. I don't really care about the frizz. You can see some of it if I show you close, but for the most part, I just pat it down. Hopefully you can still see. I kind of just go like this, and it really lays down a little bit more, and especially if I'm wearing my dreads up. Let me get where you can see me again. Hi. So I do that, and I do use the crochet hook. I haven't been because I haven't needed to. I'm not unhappy with the frizziness of my dreadlocks. I feel like that's kind of going to naturally work its way into the lock anyway, and you know, I just kind of, I don't really palm roll. It hasn't done anything for me. I guess if I did it religiously it might affect it, but I kind of want them to chill and do their own thing and find their own way. I know it sounds a little silly, but I'm happy with them so far, so we'll see how it goes. I'll keep you updated. One other thing I recommend is if you're itchy like I was for a long time, do not use your nails to scratch. I have very long nails right now, and I could damage my scalp scratching at my head, especially when you really get the itches. So I recommend that their dry shampoo is actually pretty soothing because it's got alcohol in it, so it evaporates really quickly and it's cold, so it's kind of like a relief. But I also recommend just take your hair and use your dreads to scratch your head, as odd as that sounds. A lot of times I'll just take the dread itself and do my clockwise and just let the dread itch, because if you use your nails you really can damage your scalp. I had a spot in the back of my head when I first put my dreads in, which I don't know if I did it in my sleep or what, but I had a scab that was like, I went to scratch and it like opened up and it was like, ugh, I can't believe that happened. So avoid yourself the pain. Another thing, looks silly, but pat your head. Give it a pat, and you know, if you have to do it hard, do it hard. You might want to go into another room because it makes you look weird. But that's something you can do. If you are interested, excuse me, in crochet hooking, I have a size 14 hook. Hopefully you can see it, probably not, but I just told you the size, so that's okay. It's a very small hook. It will poke into your actual skin because it's so sharp from being small. I use that to go into my dread, and there's tons of tutorials on how to do it. I can post one another time, but I don't want this video to get too long, so look into that if you need to. Otherwise I'll post a video about it sooner or later. If I think of anything else I do to maintain my hair, I will let you know. Let me check my list. I think I do have a list on my phone about how to maintain my hair. Nope, I covered everything, so you're all set. Alright, thank you so much for watching. Here's my dreads on there. Lovely frizzy birthday. They just been washed, so they're kind of wet. I'll shake them out, and sometimes water will come out of them, but I'm just going to let them do their own thing today. I'm going to move the beads around so they dry, that kind of thing. I don't think there's anything else I can mention right now, so thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you another time.